The Midnight Protocol. Commander Sarah Chen stifled a yawn as she made her final rounds through the dimly lit corridors of Orbital Station Delta. The massive space station's night cycle was in full effect, with only the essential personnel maintaining their posts. The soft hum of life support systems provided a familiar backdrop to her footsteps. "Commander, you have an incoming priority message from Central Command," the station's AI announced, its voice echoing through her neural implant. Sarah frowned. Messages from Central rarely came during night cycles, and priority ones even less so. "Display," she commanded, watching as a holographic screen materialized before her eyes. The message was brief but alarming. "Unknown vessel approaching. Non-standard configuration. No response to hails. Intercept and investigate. Possible first contact scenario." Sarah's exhaustion vanished instantly. First contact protocols had been established centuries ago, but actually implementing them was another matter entirely. Humanity had encountered only 3 alien species in its centuries of space exploration, and none of those meetings had occurred near Earth's orbital stations. "Wake Lieutenant Rodriguez and Dr. Harper," Sarah ordered, already striding toward the command center, "and get me a visual on that vessel." The command center doors slid open with a soft hiss. Within minutes, her 2 most trusted officers joined her, looking somewhat disheveled but alert. The main display showed a strange, crystalline structure approaching their station, its surface refracting the distant starlight in mesmerizing patterns. "That's different," Rodriguez muttered, running his hands through his short black hair. "No visible propulsion system, no standard markings, and the size, it's barely larger than a shuttle." Dr. Harper, the station's chief xenobiologist, was already analyzing the preliminary scans. "The outer structure appears to be some form of living crystal. It's growing and shifting as we watch. Fascinating." "Life signs?" Sarah asked, keeping her voice steady despite the mounting tension. "1. Harper confirmed. "But it's unlike anything in our database. The energy signature is pulsing, almost like a heartbeat, but at frequencies that should be impossible for biological entities." Sarah made her decision. "Initialize docking procedures in Bay 3. Full quarantine protocols. I want security teams in position, but weapons set to stun only. We're not making humanity's 4th first contact a hostile one." As the strange vessel drew closer, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The approach was too perfect, too precise. Either their visitors were master pilots, or "Commander." Rodriguez's voice carried an edge of panic. "The vessel, it's not following our docking guidance. It's integrating with our hull." Sarah watched in amazement as the crystalline structure seemed to melt into the station's outer wall, creating a seamless connection. Alarms blared as the station's systems detected the breach, but environmental readings remained stable. "Security teams, hold position," Sarah ordered. "Dr. Harper, what are we looking at?" Before the xenobiologist could respond, a soft chiming sound filled the command center. The wall before them began to shimmer, and through it stepped a being that defied explanation. It appeared humanoid, but its body was composed of the same living crystal as its vessel, shifting and flowing like liquid glass. "Greetings, children of Earth," the being spoke, its voice resonating not through the air but directly in their minds. "We have watched and we have waited. Now, at last, it is time." Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding but her voice firm. "I am Commander Sarah Chen of Orbital Station Delta. You're in violation of standard first contact protocols. State your intentions." The crystalline being's form rippled with what might have been amusement. "Protocols, how charmingly human. We are the architects, and we have come to offer you a choice. Your species stands at a crossroads, Commander Chen. The path you choose today will determine not just humanity's fate, but that of countless civilizations across the galaxy." Sarah exchanged glances with her officers. This was far beyond any first contact scenario they had trained for. But as she faced the alien being, she felt a surge of determination. Whatever test or challenge this architect had in mind, humanity would face it head-on. "Then let's talk," Sarah said, gesturing to the conference room. "But first, you'll need to properly dock your vessel. We humans prefer our structural integrity intact." For a moment, the being seemed to freeze, its crystalline form catching the light in 1,000 different ways. Then, remarkably, it laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. Perhaps you are ready after all." As Sarah led the way to the conference room, she couldn't help but smile. Whatever came next, humanity would face it with courage, curiosity, and just a touch of stubborn insistence on proper procedures. The night cycle had just gotten a lot more interesting. Crystals and choices. As Sarah led the crystalline being into the station's conference room, she couldn't help but notice how its presence seemed to alter the very air around them. The harsh fluorescent lighting softened, taking on an ethereal quality as it passed through the architect's translucent form. "Your station's environmental systems are primitive," the architect observed, its mental voice carrying no judgment, merely stating a fact. "Yet you've managed to create a stable habitat in the void. Impressive in its own way." Dr. Harper, who had been furiously taking notes on his tablet, looked up. "Your biological composition, if we can call it that, seems to adapt to our atmosphere without any visible life support systems. How is that possible?" The architect's form shifted, creating patterns that seemed to respond to Harper's curiosity. "We are not bound by the same limitations as carbon-based life forms. Our consciousness exists within the crystalline matrix, adapting and evolving as needed. But we didn't come here to discuss our biology." "No," Sarah agreed, taking her seat at the head of the conference table. "You mentioned a choice, a crossroads for humanity. I think it's time you explained exactly what that means." Lieutenant Rodriguez remained standing, his security training evident in his protective stance near the door. The architect seemed to notice this, its form rippling with what might have been amusement. "Your species' protective instincts serve you well," it said. "They've helped you survive countless challenges, but now you face a threat you cannot fight with weapons or shield with armor." Sarah leaned forward. "What kind of threat?" The architect's form expanded slightly, projecting a holographic display into the center of the conference room. Stars and galaxies swirled before them, creating a map of their local cluster. "The void between stars is not empty as you believe. It teems with life that exists between the dimensions you can perceive. We call them the void dancers." The hologram shifted, showing strange, shadowy forms moving between the stars. They seemed to bend light around them, making it difficult for Sarah's eyes to focus on their true shape. "For millennia, they have remained dormant," the architect continued. "But humanity's recent experiments with quantum tunneling have disturbed them. Your species has inadvertently knocked on a door that was better left closed." Dr. Harper's face paled. "The Quantum Bridge Project, our attempt to create stable wormholes for instantaneous travel." "Precisely," the architect confirmed. "Within 6 of your months, the void dancers will fully awaken. When they do, they will perceive your quantum experiments as an invasion of their domain. Their response will be terminal." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "And this choice you mentioned." The crystalline being moved closer to the table, its form creating mesmerizing patterns in the holographic light. "We offer you 2 paths. The first, we can help you modify your quantum technology, making it undetectable to the void dancers. This would allow your species to continue its current trajectory of development, but it would take centuries longer to achieve your goals." "And the second path?" Rodriguez asked, speaking for the first time since entering the room. "The second path is more dramatic. We can help you evolve, transform your species into beings capable of perceiving and interacting with the void dancers directly. You would become something new, neither human nor architect, but something in between." Silence fell over the conference room. Sarah's mind raced with the implications of either choice. How long do we have to decide? 48 of your hours, the architect replied. The process for either path must begin before the void dancers fully awaken to their surroundings. And if we refuse both options? Sarah asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. The architect's form darkened slightly. Then we will mourn the loss of yet another promising species to the void dancer's hunger. Dr. Harper cleared his throat. Commander, we need to contact Earth Command immediately. This decision affects all of humanity. Sarah nodded, but before she could respond, the station's emergency alarms began blaring. Rodriguez rushed to the nearest terminal. Commander, his voice was tight with concern. We're detecting massive quantum fluctuations in Sector 7. Something's coming through. The architect's form pulsed with urgent light. They're awakening faster than we calculated. Your experiments have accelerated the process. Sarah jumped to her feet. How is that possible? You said we had 6 months. Time moves differently in the void, the architect explained, its mental voice tinged with concern. Your choice must be made now, Commander Chen. The fate of your species hangs in the balance. Through the conference room's viewport, Sarah watched as space itself seemed to twist and fold, revealing shapes that hurt her eyes to look at. The void dancers were no longer a distant threat. They were here, and humanity's time had run out. Everyone to battle stations, Sarah ordered, her training taking over despite the unprecedented situation. And you, she turned to the architect, start explaining exactly how either of these options would work. We're not making this decision blind. As her crew rushed to their positions and the architect began its explanation, Sarah couldn't help but wonder if this was how every species felt at their moment of transformation. The weight of humanity's future pressed down on her shoulders, but she stood straight and focused. Whatever choice they made, it would be with eyes wide open and human determination intact. The station's lights flickered as another quantum fluctuation rocked the structure. Time was running out, and the biggest decision in human history needed to be made. Sarah took a deep breath, knowing that whatever came next would change everything forever. Dancing with shadows. The command center of Orbital Station Delta had become a storm of activity. Emergency lights cast an eerie red glow across worried faces as crew members monitored the growing quantum disturbances. Through the main viewport, the fabric of space continued to twist and ripple, like dark water disturbed by unseen stones. Multiple breaches detected in sectors 4 through 6, Rodriguez reported, his fingers flying over the holographic controls. The quantum fluctuations are increasing exponentially. Sarah stood at the center of the chaos, her mind racing through options. The architect hovered nearby, its crystalline form pulsing with what seemed like nervous energy. These are just scouts, it explained. The first whispers of the void dancers awakening. But they are enough to demonstrate the threat. As if to emphasize the point, a massive shockwave ripped through the station. Warning lights flashed as emergency bulkheads slammed into place. Hull breach in Sector 5. A technician shouted. No, wait. The hull is intact, but the space inside the sector is folding in on itself. Dr. Harper stared at his readings in fascination and horror. The void dancers aren't attacking our physical structure, they're warping the space-time fabric itself. Our reality is being rewritten. Enough, Sarah commanded, her voice cutting through the panic. You said we have 2 options. Explain them. Now, in detail. The architect's form expanded, creating a 3-dimensional display in the center of the command center. The first option, modifying your quantum technology, would require installing crystalline matrices throughout your quantum network. These would mask your experiments from the void dancers, making them perceive your activities as natural space-time fluctuations. The display showed complex diagrams of existing human quantum technology merged with the architect's crystalline structures. However, it continued, this would mean abandoning many of your current quantum research directions. Your development would be limited to paths that don't attract their attention. And the second option? Sarah pressed, watching as another section of space twisted impossibly outside their windows. The architect's form shifted, showing a new series of images. The transformation would begin at the quantum level. Your very atoms would be restructured, infused with our crystalline technology. You'd retain your consciousness, your memories, your humanity, but gain the ability to perceive and interact with higher dimensions. "You're talking about changing our entire species," Rodriguez interjected, his voice tight with concern. "How can we possibly make that decision for all of humanity?" Before anyone could respond, a new alarm blared. The main screen showed a horrifying sight. 3 maintenance workers in Sector 7 were floating motionless, caught in a bubble of warped space. But what made Sarah's blood run cold was how their forms seemed to be slowly unraveling, their very molecules being pulled apart by forces beyond human comprehension. "They're not dead," the architect said quietly. "The void dancers are tasting them, learning about your species. What they learn will determine how they choose to consume you." Sarah felt sick, but she forced herself to focus. "Can you save them?" "Not in their current form," the architect replied. "But if you choose transformation, they would be the first. The process would rescue their consciousness before their physical forms are completely unmade." Dr. Harper looked up from his readings, his face pale. "Commander, the quantum distortions are spreading. At this rate, the entire station will be compromised in less than an hour. Earth itself will follow within days." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. When she opened them, her decision was made. The transformation. Show us how. The architect's form brightened considerably. "You are wise, Commander Chen, but you should know, the process must begin with you. Your consciousness will be the bridge that helps others transition. Are you prepared for that responsibility?" Sarah looked around at her crew, at the faces of men and women who trusted her with their lives. Beyond them, through the viewport, she could see Earth floating in the distance, beautiful and vulnerable. The choice wasn't really a choice at all. "Do it," she commanded. The architect moved toward her, its crystalline form beginning to glow with an inner light that hurt to look at. "The process will be uncomfortable, but you must remain conscious throughout. Your mind must guide the others." As the crystalline being's form began to merge with hers, Sarah felt the first wave of pain wash over her. But with it came something else: awareness. She could suddenly see the quantum strings that held reality together, could perceive the dark shapes of the void dancers moving between dimensions. "Hold formation," she gasped, her voice taking on a strange, resonant quality. Everyone join hands. Form a circle. Your minds must be linked." The command center crew hesitated for only a moment before following her order. As they joined hands, the architect's crystalline essence flowed from Sarah to them, creating a network of shimmering light. Through the haze of transformation, Sarah watched as her crew began to change. Their physical forms became translucent, then crystalline, but their eyes, their human eyes, remained the same. In those eyes, she saw fear, wonder, and determination. The transformation spread through the station like a wave of light, reaching out to save those trapped in the void dancer's grasp, extending to every crew member. Where it touched, humanity changed, evolved, became something new yet remained fundamentally itself. As the process neared completion, Sarah felt her consciousness expand beyond anything she had ever imagined. She could see the void dancers clearly now, vast, ancient beings of pure quantum energy. But more importantly, she could see how to dance with them, how to move through their domain without disturbing their slumber. The future of humanity had changed forever, but as Sarah looked at her transformed crew, she saw something remarkable. They were still unmistakably human. Different, evolved, but their core remained unchanged. They had not lost their humanity, they had transcended it. The real test was just beginning. They would need to extend this transformation to Earth, to help humanity evolve before the void dancers fully awakened. But now at least they had a chance. a chance bought with courage, sacrifice, and the unwavering human spirit that had carried them to the stars in the first place. Evolution's echo. Earth's response to the transformation of orbital station Delta was predictably chaotic. As Sarah and her crystalline crew broadcast their warning and explanation to the planet below, reactions ranged from terror to fascination. The massive holographic displays appearing in every major city, showing Sarah's transformed form and the looming threat of the Void Dancers, had certainly gotten humanity's attention. The United Earth Council is demanding proof, Rodriguez reported, his crystalline form shimmering with frustration. They want more evidence than just our transformed state and the quantum readings. Sarah, now fully adapted to her new form, moved through the station's command center with fluid grace. Her consciousness could stretch across multiple dimensions, but she deliberately maintained a humanoid shape, a reminder of who and what they still were at their core. "Then we'll give them proof," she declared. "Dr. Harper, are the quantum viewers ready?" The scientist, his crystalline form packed with swirling data patterns, nodded. "We've modified them with our new understanding. They should allow normal humans to perceive the Void Dancers, temporarily and safely." "Deploy them to every major government center," Sarah ordered. "Let them see what we're facing." As the modified devices were transported to Earth, Sarah turned her attention to the growing quantum disturbances. The Void Dancers were becoming more active, their vast forms rippling through dimensions as they slowly awakened. Through her enhanced perception, she could see them clearly now, beings of pure quantum energy, their consciousness spanning multiple universes. "Commander," a young ensign called out, her crystalline form still showing traces of uncertainty in its patterns. "We're detecting massive population movement on Earth. People are panicking." Sarah had expected this. The sight of the Void Dancers through the quantum viewers was enough to shake anyone's worldview. But humanity needed to move past fear and into action. "Open a global channel," she commanded. As the communication systems activated, she addressed her species. "People of Earth, this is Commander Sarah Chen of Orbital Station Delta. By now you've seen the threat we face. The Void Dancers are ancient beings that exist in dimensions beyond our normal perception. They see our quantum experiments as an invasion of their domain, and their response will be extinction level if we don't act." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "But we have a solution. The architects have given us the means to evolve, to transform into beings capable of coexisting with the Void Dancers. Yes, it means changing what we are physically, but not who we are as a species. My crew and I have already undergone this transformation. We remain human in our thoughts, our feelings, our determination." The station's sensors picked up increasing activity from Earth's military installations. Some were powering up weapon systems, others preparing ships for launch. To those considering military action, Sarah continued, her voice firm but compassionate. "Your weapons cannot harm the Void Dancers. They exist partially outside our reality. Our only options are to evolve or face extinction. The choice is yours, but time is running out." Dr. Harper's form pulsed with urgent patterns. "Commander, the quantum disturbances are intensifying. The Void Dancers' awakening is accelerating." Sarah nodded, addressing Earth again. "We're sending transformation protocols to every major medical center and research facility. The process requires voluntary participation. It cannot and will not be forced. But know this: those who choose not to transform will still be protected by those who do. We will not abandon any of humanity." The response was immediate and varied. Some facilities began implementing the protocols immediately, while others hesitated. In cities across the globe, people gathered in crowds, watching the sky where the Void Dancers' influence was becoming visible even to normal human perception, reality itself seeming to bend and warp. First wave of voluntary transformations beginning in Asia and Europe, Rodriguez reported. The process is spreading faster than projected. Sarah watched through her enhanced senses as the transformation began to spread across Earth. It moved like a wave of crystalline light, each transformed human becoming a beacon for others. Family members joined hands, friends formed circles, communities came together, all choosing to take this leap into evolution together. But not everyone was accepting the change. Pockets of resistance formed, some out of fear, others out of religious conviction or simple distrust. Sarah had expected this too. Remember, she broadcast to the newly transformed humans below, "We protect everyone, regardless of their choice. Those who choose to remain unaltered must be defended until the void dancers return to their slumber." The transformed humans on Earth were quickly learning to use their new abilities, forming networks of consciousness that spanned continents. They could see the void dancers clearly now, could understand the intricate quantum dance required to exist alongside them. Through it all, Sarah maintained her vigil on the station, coordinating the global transformation while watching the void dancers' growing awareness. The next few hours would determine humanity's fate, not just their survival, but what kind of species they would become. As she observed Earth's metamorphosis, Sarah reflected on the strangeness of their situation. Humanity had always dreamed of ascending, of becoming something greater. But no one had imagined it would happen like this, forced by necessity, driven by survival, yet somehow still maintaining the core of what made them human. The true test was still to come. Soon, they would need to face the fully awakened void dancers not as prey, but as equals. And in that moment, humanity's new form would prove its worth, or mark the end of their species' great journey among the stars. Symphony of Stars. The transformation of humanity was entering its critical phase. From Orbital Station Delta's command center, Sarah watched as the crystalline evolution spread across Earth like a luminescent web, each transformed human becoming part of a vast, interconnected consciousness while maintaining their individual identity. But the void dancers were growing restless. Their massive forms, now visible even to untransformed humans, twisted through multiple dimensions, creating auroras of impossible colors in Earth's atmosphere. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. 70% of Earth's population has either transformed or is in the process. Dr. Harper reported, his crystalline form displaying complex data patterns, but we're detecting increased resistance in several regions. Sarah nodded, her consciousness extending to touch the minds of the newly transformed below. Their thoughts and emotions flowed through the crystalline network: fear, wonder, determination, and an overwhelming sense of unity that transcended national borders and old prejudices. "Commander," Rodriguez called out urgently, "the void dancers are converging. They're forming some kind of pattern." Through her enhanced perception, Sarah saw it. The void dancers were arranging themselves in a massive multidimensional lattice around Earth. It was a hunting formation, she realized with growing alarm. They were preparing to feed. "All transformed units, prepare for first contact," Sarah broadcast through the crystalline network. "Remember your training. Move with them, not against them. We're not fighting, we're dancing." The architect, who had remained quietly observing until now, moved forward. "The moment of truth approaches. Your species must demonstrate its worth not through force, but through harmony." As if on cue, the first void dancer made its move. A vast tendril of quantum energy reached toward Earth, its touch beginning to unravel the very fabric of reality. But this time, humanity was ready. The transformed population responded as one, their crystalline forms resonating at precisely the right frequency. Instead of fighting the quantum distortion, they moved with it, their consciousness flowing through dimensions in a complex dance that matched the void dancers' movements. "It's working," Dr. Harper exclaimed, his form pulsing with excitement. "They're responding to our quantum harmony." Sarah watched in amazement as the void dancers' aggressive formation began to shift. Their movements became less predatory, more curious. They were recognizing the transformed humans not as prey, but as fellow dancers in the cosmic ballet. But not everything was going smoothly. In areas of high concentrations of untransformed humans, the void dancers' presence was causing devastating effects. Reality itself was beginning to break down. "We need to extend our protection," Sarah commanded. "All transformed units, form quantum shields around population centers. Focus on hospitals, schools, and emergency shelters." The transformed humans responded immediately, their crystalline forms creating intricate patterns of protective energy that shielded the vulnerable. It was straining their newfound abilities to the limit, but they held firm. Through the crystalline network, Sarah felt every triumph and every struggle. In New York, a transformed family joined consciousness to protect their untransformed neighbors. In Tokyo, a group of transformed scientists worked to stabilize a quantum breach threatening their research facility. In Lagos, transformed children instinctively formed protective circles around their classmates. The architect's form pulsed with approval. "Your species continues to surprise us. Most races choose either complete transformation or face extinction. But you protect even those who reject evolution." "That's what makes us human," Sarah replied, her voice resonating through the network. "We advance together, or not at all." Suddenly, the largest void dancer, a being whose full form existed in so many dimensions it hurt to perceive, moved directly toward the station. Sarah braced herself, expecting an attack. Instead, it initiated contact. The communication wasn't in words or even thoughts, but in pure quantum frequencies. Through her transformed consciousness, Sarah understood. The void dancers were offering a choice of their own. "They're accepting us," she broadcast to the network. "They're offering to teach us, to show us how to truly dance through the quantum realm." The implications were staggering. The void dancers weren't just sparing humanity, they were offering to become teachers, guides to realms of existence humans had never imagined. But there was a catch. The void dancers made it clear. This knowledge would only be shared with those who had chosen transformation. The untransformed would need to be protected indefinitely, living in carefully maintained bubbles of stable space-time. Sarah faced a new decision: accept the void dancers' offer and create a two-tiered humanity, or refuse and maintain their current state of basic coexistence. The weight of this choice pressed against her consciousness, even as she felt the anticipation building through the crystalline network. As she prepared to respond, Sarah felt a subtle shift in the quantum field. The void dancers were not finished. They had one more revelation to share, one that would challenge everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe. The true test of their evolution was just beginning, and the next few moments would determine not just humanity's future, but their role in a cosmic dance they were only beginning to understand. Quantum legacy. The revelation from the void dancers rippled through the crystalline network like a shockwave. Through their quantum communication, they shared a truth that stunned even Sarah. Earth had been their creation all along. The planet's unique quantum signature, humanity's surprising adaptability to transformation, none of it was accidental. They engineered our world, Dr. Harper breathed, his crystalline form flickering with shock. We're the result of a billion-year experiment. Sarah absorbed this information, feeling the reactions of millions of transformed humans through the network. Emotions ranged from denial to anger to awe. But why? She broadcast to the ancient beings surrounding their world. The answer came in waves of quantum information. The void dancers had seeded countless worlds, creating species that might one day evolve to join them. Earth was just one of many experiments, but humanity had proven uniquely successful. Their ability to maintain their essential nature, even through transformation, was unprecedented. "Commander," Rodriguez called out, his form pulsing urgently. "We're detecting quantum signatures matching the void dancers from deep within Earth's core. They've been there all along." The architect moved forward, its crystalline form resonating with confirmation. "Now you understand why we chose to help you. You were always meant to ascend." Through her enhanced perception, Sarah could see it clearly now. Earth's core contained ancient quantum machinery, dormant for millions of years, waiting for humanity to reach this exact moment of evolution. The void dancers hadn't been awakened by human experiments. They had been waiting, guiding, protecting. But what about those who chose not to transform? Sarah demanded, thinking of the millions still in their original human form. Were they meant to be left behind? The void dancers' response was unexpected. Through their quantum communication, they revealed another truth: the untransformed humans were equally essential. They would maintain the baseline of humanity, ensuring that the transformed never lost touch with their origins. It's not a flaw in the plan, Dr. Harper realized, his scientific mind racing with implications. It's a feature, a safeguard. Sarah broadcast this understanding through the network, feeling relief wash through the transformed population. They would not have to choose between evolution and abandoning their unchanged brethren. Both forms of humanity would continue, each essential to the other's existence. But the void dancers weren't finished. They began sharing images, knowledge, history, the story of their own evolution billions of years ago, and the great responsibility they now carried as guardians of countless developing species across the universe. They're offering us a place among them, Sarah announced to the network. Not just as students, but as partners in shepherding other worlds toward their own moments of transformation. The implications were staggering. Humanity would not only evolve, but would help guide other species through their own evolutionary journeys. They would become part of a vast, ancient network of celestial guardians. Through the crystalline network, Sarah felt the surge of human ambition, curiosity, and determination that had always characterized their species. Even transformed, these fundamental traits remained unchanged. If anything, they were enhanced. "We accept," Sarah broadcast to the void dancers, her decision backed by the overwhelming support of the transformed population. "But we have conditions." The ancient beings' interest was palpable. In all their billions of years of seeding worlds, no species had ever dared to set terms. But humanity, it seemed, would remain humanity, transformed or not. Sarah laid out their requirements. Earth would remain under human protection. Both transformed and untransformed populations would be equally valued and defended, and humanity would have a say in how future species were guided toward transformation. The void dancers' response was another surprise: approval, even satisfaction. This was exactly why humanity had been chosen. Their unwavering determination to protect their own, their audacity in facing the unknown, their ability to adapt while maintaining their essential nature, these were the qualities needed in universal guardians. As the agreements were made and the quantum bonds established, Sarah felt a profound shift in human consciousness. They were no longer just inhabitants of Earth, but custodians of evolution itself. The transformed would guide, the untransformed would anchor, and together they would help shape the future of countless worlds. The architect, its purpose now fulfilled, began to fade. Remember, it communicated one last time: you were not chosen despite your humanity, but because of it. Never lose that spark that makes you unique among the cosmos. As humanity prepared to take its place among the ancient guardians of evolution, Sarah looked back at Earth, beautiful, complex, continuously changing yet somehow eternal. They had not just survived their moment of crisis, they had fulfilled a destiny billions of years in the making. The future stretched before them, filled with countless worlds waiting for their own moments of transformation, and humanity, in all its forms, would be there to guide them, protect them, and welcome them into the grand dance of cosmic evolution. Eternal dance. 1 year after humanity's transformation and revelations about their cosmic purpose, Earth had become something unprecedented in the universe, a perfect harmony between the evolved and the unchanged. From her position in orbital station Delta, now a crystalline structure seamlessly merged with its original form, Sarah observed the beautiful duality of her species. The first seeded world has reached its transformation point, Rodriguez reported, his crystalline form shimmering with excitement. The Centauri system's third planet is showing signs of quantum awakening. Sarah extended her consciousness through the quantum network, feeling the anticipation of humanity's transformed population. Their first test as cosmic guardians was approaching. Dr. Harper, how are the untransformed populations adapting to the new reality? Sarah asked, though she could sense much of it herself. The scientist's form pulsed with satisfaction. Remarkably well. The quantum shields we've established allow them to live normally while protected from dimensional distortions. More importantly, their presence continues to ground us, keeping our transformed consciousness connected to our human origins. Earth below had become a marvel of coexistence. Crystalline cities grew alongside traditional human structures, their forms intertwining but never overwhelming. The transformed population had learned to shift between their crystalline and human forms at will, allowing them to interact seamlessly with their untransformed families and friends. "Commander," a young lieutenant called out, her form brightening with urgency, "the void dancers are signaling. It's time." Sarah gathered her consciousness, preparing for humanity's first role as evolution's shepherds. Through the quantum network, she connected with transformed humans across Earth who had volunteered for this historic mission. "Remember your training," she broadcast. "We're not there to force transformation, but to guide and protect. Just as we maintain both forms on Earth, they must choose their own path." The Void Dancers surrounded Earth in a spectacular display of quantum energy, creating a gateway to the Centauri system. Sarah led the first team of transformed humans through dimensions, dancing between realities with a grace that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. They emerged above a world much like Earth had been before transformation, beautiful, fragile, and on the brink of a quantum awakening. Its inhabitants, a species of beings that resembled bioluminescent plants, were conducting their first tentative experiments with dimensional energy. Just like us, Dr. Harper observed through the network. They're reaching for the stars, not knowing they're reaching for their own destiny. Sarah coordinated with the Void Dancers, establishing the same protective quantum fields that had helped humanity through their transformation. Then, following the protocol they had developed, they made first contact. The response from the Centauri beings was eerily familiar: fear, wonder, curiosity, and determination. Sarah felt a profound sense of déjà vu as she explained their purpose, showed them the threat and opportunity that awaited them. But unlike humanity's transformation, this one had guides, protectors, teachers. The process would be gentler, more controlled, while still allowing for choice and maintaining the essential nature of their species. Through the quantum network, Sarah felt Earth's transformed population working in harmony, extending their protection across light years, helping another species take their first steps into a larger universe. Back on Earth, the untransformed humans played their own crucial role. Their continued existence, their thriving civilization, stood as proof that evolution didn't mean extinction of the old ways. They were the living heart of humanity, keeping the transformed grounded in their origins even as they danced between dimensions. The cycle continues, the essence of the architect whispered through the quantum field. But this time, with humanity as its guardians, it grows more beautiful with each iteration. Sarah watched as the first Centauri beings began their transformation, their consciousness awakening to the quantum reality that had always surrounded them. But unlike humanity's rushed evolution, theirs was peaceful, measured, chosen. Through it all, Earth remained humanity's anchor, a shining example of what was possible when evolution meant addition rather than replacement. The transformed and untransformed lived together, worked together, dreamed together. They were two expressions of the same species, each essential to the other's existence. As the Centauri transformation proceeded, Sarah felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity had not just survived their trial by fire, they had emerged as something greater while remaining fundamentally themselves. They were guardians now, teachers, protectors, but most importantly, they were still human, in all the beautiful variations that word had come to mean. The universe stretched before them, filled with worlds waiting for their moment of awakening, and humanity, in both its forms, would be there to guide them all in the eternal dance of cosmic evolution. For in the end, their greatest achievement hadn't been the transformation itself, but the preservation of their humanity through it all. They had become more than they were, while remaining everything they had always been: explorers, dreamers, protectors, and now, finally, shepherds of the stars. The eternal dance had begun, and humanity, in all its forms, would dance forever among the quantum streams of creation, guiding, protecting, and growing with each new step in the cosmic ballet.